Welcome to Taranaki Foodies with Area 41.
The tastiest food show on the Most FM.
This is your choice. Just to mix it up. Well, actually, some people were really critical of it.
We froze.
Yeah,
It was very cold that day, but it was nice. I had a nice evening. So we bought a special jacket over there, and that they made it quite a bit of a difference.
I think if you were up the back, the wind was blowing sound around. If we were by the sound tent,
We
were just down in front of the other seat.
How were your ears by the sound channel? Were they quite loud?
Oh, it was about right.
It was just enormously cold.
That would be one of the best venues I've been to a concert. If it wasn't so cold, it would have been
Yeah, it was a shame it was cold. But was it March?
Yeah, you do not expect so cold.
In March now. So is it your favorite band, Ellen?
Oh, I'm very good. I like all sorts of music.
Oh, okay. So is there kind of a music style you like or era?
Probably stuck in the rut. Yeah, was like Chris Cornell and always Pink Floyd. We both like Pink Floyd.
Oh, I see.
And I went to a concert with Ozzy Osbourne and Olena, and I really enjoyed it. I thought he was just an amazing entertainer.
Yeah.
Everybody sort of gives him a bad rap.
It's funny you mentioned Pink Floyd because I do like Pink Floyd, but it was on at the gym and I came home. It's Shine On You Crazy Diamond, and they played the whole 6 parts. You know how half's at the start, half's at the end. So I just sectioned it into one song. It's 19 minutes. It's just amazing.
Yeah, so I went to Metallica in the States, and that was live, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, some people travel quite far to see their favorite band.
So I just had to be there on the trade show, and they were playing, so we just turned up, and it was, we're lucky we got good seats.
Forgive my ignorance. Are you Marcel Pancakes also? No. What's the connection here?
Okay, tell us guys about the connection.
We've got 20 seconds.
Yeah. We are now together.
Oh, right. All right. Because I was going to
with the young guy, and I live in New Zealand.
I was going to ask you about Ben, who I know.
Ben is my PA all the time. Yeah, he was now because I'm not in the company anymore.
Welcome back to Taranaki Foodies with Area 41. It is us, Olena, Williams, Warwick Foy, and we are so excited to have our amazing guests, Ingrid Verkamen and Ellen Cobray, today with us. And remember that we have a recording of the show on Twitter, on YouTube, and on Facebook Live. So if you like to peek behind the scenes, please go on one of the platforms, follow us, give us likes, and listen to our epic guests. We just listened to 4 seasons in one day by Pink Floyd, right?
Crowded House.
Crowded House!
We were talking about that.
How lame of me. I'm working at the radio. So this was the choice by Ellen Cobray. Can you tell us what's special about the song for you?
Oh, just looking at the weather out here today, it's inspired that. But we aren't actually getting 4 seasons, we're only getting 1 today.
Wow.
The sun came out for about 10 seconds.
Yeah. But from the early days of Split Ends, my brother-in-law was, his brother was one of the Split Ends. So there's a connection.
So which one's that?
Noel Crombie.
So Noel Crombie is your brother-in-law?
No, he was the brother of my brother-in-law.
Oh, the brother of your brother-in-law. He was the percussionist for Split Ends. And responsible for, if you know Olena, crazy outfits and cover art.
I love that. This is my type of musician. Are you a muso?
No, not really. I played the guitar badly, and my son took it off me and played it properly.
So I know Ingrid for quite a while, but I haven't come across you before. So are you from Taranaki?
No, I'm originally Auckland and live in Whitianga.
Oh, what's your background?
In engineering background, so I worked with my brother for 36 years in business, and his 2 sons are keen on the business. My kids weren't, so they've carried on.
Awesome.
I have an aviation passion, which I'm involved with too.
Oh, aviation passion. This is really cool because I graduated aviation university, and it's something that gives dreams for a lot of people. People like to fly.
Yeah.
Can you fly?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh wow! Tell us about it.
What's your favourite kind of aircraft?
Well, I fly a helicopter again, so, and they should be illegal. They're so much fun. And also fixed wing, so I have some fixed wing aircraft, and I do training for people in the microlight category.
Oh, that's very cool. You may not know, Olena, but I'm actually a plane spotter. So I'm a big fan of Flight Radar 24, which allows you to view any plane anywhere in the world at any time, and it tells you all about the plane, its age, its rego, its where it's going, where it's been, etc., etc. Are you familiar with that stuff?
Yeah,
it's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll just go on it and just randomly look at some plane and see where it's going and where it's going next day and where it's been the last week, and it's cool.
I think you have too much spare time.
But my favourite aircraft is the A380
Yeah.
Airbus, which I'm fortunate to be on just one time from Auckland to Melbourne. And also I'm a big fan of the Dreamline series.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so awesome. When I was studying in the university, I managed to have my hands on a magazine which talked about kits that you can build aircraft from. So you buy one from Canada, you need to purchase an engine and things like that, but you can actually build your own aircraft. And I was like, oh my God, I just need to find a land.
With kit airplanes, I've built several.
Oh, you did?
And I'm involved with the program at Woody Angle. It's the school children build airplanes.
I want to go to school and go to VTN.
So they're building their 5th aircraft now, which is called a Vans RV-12, which is out of the United States.
My dream one was based on Cessna. So what sort of aircraft do you build?
That's called a Vans RV-12, so it's a home-built aircraft. The kit set comes from the United States.
So it's a single prop,
two-person, lightweight. Well, it's a light aircraft.
So do you fly those aircraft?
Yes, I teach people to fly in it.
Oh my God, Ingrid, thank you very much for bringing Ella. We didn't expect that. This is such an interesting guest. Awesome. So, Ingrid, we are going to talk about Belgian food because your background is from Belgium. And let's face, not a lot of people are familiar about it. So when people say Belgian food, let's make a little quiz. Is it a quiz time?
Quiz time are my favorite.
So what is the Belgian food that you know? And I'll ask everyone in the room, and maybe some people answer, maybe some people wouldn't. So, Nathan, do you know any Belgian food?
Well, I'll say the Belgian waffles, because typically when we come to know an ethnic food, because it becomes so popular that it's actually become common. So Belgian waffles are fairly common.
Yes, Belgian waffles. This is the real foodie answer. I don't know whether anyone can beat that. Dylan, do you know any Belgian food? He says no. Okay. No. How about our youngest Olly? Olly is looking something really, really fast. It's called being resourceful. So Ellen, what is Belgian food? Did you learn any?
Brussels sprouts.
Very good. Yeah. So I received a recipe today from Ingrid. I felt really, really amazed because I have never came across something like that. It's a Belgian witlof. And it looked like some sort of a pasta that still fills in, but it's actually made of pieces of ham with fillings inside. And tell us what it is.
It's made from wheat loaf, which is, in English they call it chicory. Mm-hmm. And it's very typical in Belgium. They really throw it to your head. We use it for everything. You can eat it raw, you can eat it cooked, you can eat it in all sorts of forms. And those dots of chicory, the wheat loaf, you do a ham around it. First you have to cook it for a while, and then you do a ham around it, and then you add a cheese sauce over it and put that in the oven.
Yeah, cheese sauce is based on bechamel base and
with lots of tasty cheese, and then you put that in the oven. That's really a very typical recipe. So when I went back to Belgium for the first time in 2004, and I visited friends, everybody had made the same dish for me. It came out of my ears.
Chicory, right? Chicory or kikori. Chicory. I read the recipe, and I know the chicory is used as a substitute of coffee sometimes. So it has quite a strong bitter taste, a little bit acidic. So in your recipe, you said that you have to take stalks, separate them in half. So does it mean it's quite a big stalk? Because when I saw chicory, it was quite like a small grass type of thing. How big is the chicory?
Well, they sell it
Oh,
in the season in the New World here.
oh.
And then I go there and I buy whatever I can, because next week there is nothing anymore.
I wonder why I could never get any chicory.
Yeah, it's quite expensive here.
Yeah. I never saw a chicory on sale because
So I couldn't cook the meal for you now because it's out of season.
yeah.
It was a month ago, then it was available in New World. Only in New World I could find it, nowhere else.
Curious for a new world and those people who stock ethnic food. So I have one person I didn't ask about Belgian food. It is Warwick.
My favourite Belgian food is, she knows, the Belgian Golden Strong Ale, which
I'm not surprised.
Coincidence. I actually just finished brewing that, and I didn't know you were coming on the show today, so it's just one of those things that I like. But a Belgian Strong Golden Ale, which I've never brewed before, I was just reading about it, is a fruity, complex, high alcohol sipper, and it's fairly light in colour. Do you know it?
I don't know which one you mean, because in Belgium we have more than 400 different breweries and different beers. So,
what is the difference between Belgian style of brewing and other European?
It's a good question. I think there's a lot of wheat beers brewed, but people think only one dimension about wheat beer. They just think it's cloudy. But there's lots of different types of wheat beer. So the famous Trappist beers, I guess, probably what marks our Belgian beers from the rest, the triples and duples and quads and all the beer de gardes, those kind of, they're strong, they're not hoppy beers, it's all about the yeast and the flavours of the yeast.
Almost like a bread in a liquid form.
high in alcohol too.
Bread with vodka, I like that.
Very high.
So when I first learned about Belgian cuisine, the first kind of a search returned me French fries. Is that true that people associate Belgian food with the French fries?
Well, because the fries are invented in Belgium. And it was during the war that the Americans were served fries, and the military who were serving them, they were French speaking. So they say, hey, French, fries.
Right, but I mean, this country is so diverse. There are so many interesting things going there. What are the official languages of Belgium?
We are with 7 million Dutch speakers. We call it Flemish. It's softer in accent than in the Netherlands and Holland. And then we have 3 million French speakers and a small amount of German speakers. So after the Second World War, they took a little part of Germany and they added that to Belgium. So we have 3 official languages.
So that everyone speaks 3 languages, and
They have to learn those 3 languages in school, and on top of that, English. Yeah.
So what would be spoken in government or in official, as an official language? Would they speak all 3 somehow?
Yes, everything is in 3. Everything that we get is in 3 languages. But on the street in Brussels, for instance, the street names are in French and in Flemish, but not in German. So most of the time, the guiding language is or Flemish or French, but they speak both in the same room. Yeah, the Flemish, they speak the Flemish, the French answer in French. So, but we can speak both.
It's really interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's sort of like you're using 2 languages as one language in a way.
Yeah,
Yeah, more or less.
Esperanto, 3 languages type of thing. When you talk about Flemish, something comes to my memory straight away. A few months ago, I wanted to own a Flemish rabbit. Everyone knows those are Flemish rabbits who grow up to 50 kilograms, and they say they get attached. They're almost like a big dog or something like that. And I just imagine sitting in front of the TV, petting the rabbit, and he will do like affectionate moves and things like that. And My husband said to me, why do you need a rabbit? You have me, you can pet me and all this. So I suppose I need to buy him like a onesie with the little ears. So Flemish is a very interesting culture. It has its own costume, it has its own dialect, it has its own music, art, and things like that. So how would you describe it to someone who never came across it?
Yeah, Flanders is very, very old area, but we were all run all the time by different people. We always belonged to somebody else. So that means that we learned to do compromises. And when you talk about the Flemish rabbit, indeed, that's a very huge rabbit, because we eat lots of rabbits.
But are they edible?
Yeah, they just, yeah, that's why they do them, for the meat. Yeah. I had a couple of Flemish rabbits the first 7 years that I was in New Zealand, and yeah, and then I prepared Flemish rabbit. I have heaps of recipes how to prepare rabbits. After a while, I couldn't see a rabbit anymore when we lived in Urinui. My husband used to shoot quite a bit of rabbits, and every week I had to prepare them. After a while, I was fed up with them. But if you want a rabbit recipe,
all right.
I have heaps.
Yes, we have several Russian rabbit recipes. One is in a sour cream, and some of them made in a clay pot. And a lot of people in New Zealand probably will frown upon it, because here rabbits are either pests or pests, which is really, really strange at the same time. So how did you kind of lift this Flemish rabbits? They're 50 kilograms and you're tiny, and they're probably heavier than you.
When they are little, then you can have them in the house. But at a certain moment, they don't want you to touch them anymore. They bite. They don't want to be touched. So you cannot have them on your lap. And no,
I would stick to my husband. I think is much more pettable.
Is it time to talk about famous Belgians?
Yes, I think we'll talk to expert, which is Warwick.
No, definitely not. I had to Google it. In fact, it's a common pub quiz question is name a famous Belgian, and most people can't. But here are some famous Belgians that I looked up on the internet. The first one is Peter Paul Rubens, the artist. Many people will have heard of him. Then Adolphe Sax. Do you know what he did?
Yes, my husband plays clarinet and bass clarinet. So
the saxophone.
He made the saxophone. Yeah.
He invented saxophone. Now I was going to ask you. He was from Dinant, which is in the Walloon area.
That's in the French-speaking part, yeah.
In the south, right?
And Paris has a wonderful shop devoted to the whole sax family, and there are some wonderful displays on instruments who were played with famous people, and we attended it. It was pretty amazing.
Anyone who's my age or slightly older or younger will have heard of Jean-Claude Van Damme, who was an action star from the 80s.
Who would forget his famous split in the air? It was amazing.
Audrey Hepburn was born in Brussels. I didn't know that either. Moving right along. Now here's the name that most commonly appears when you ask this question, and that's Kim Clijsters, the tennis star. I don't know when she was big, maybe 15 years ago or so. She was her era. She was ranked number 1 in the world in both singles and doubles. Moving right along, we have, being a recovering geography teacher, my favourite Belgian is Gerardus Mercator, that's how we pronounce it anyway, who devised the Mercator projection, which is the most common world map that you see.
Oh, wow.
Because obviously it's very hard to put a globe-shaped object onto a flat piece of paper.
Too deep,
distortion. But he somehow managed to do that. So that's the Mercator projection.
Inventor.
And last but not least, famous Belgians in fashion, Liz Claiborne.
I don't know.
I've heard it wrong with that clue.
Wow, we have lots of very famous fashion designers.
So that's just a few famous Belgians right there.
Also, Belgium is famous for its diamonds. How come? Because they don't have mines.
Well, Antwerp is the hub for diamond trades.
Is it because there was no wars there for a long time, or is it because why did it happen in this particular part of the world?
Were there lots of clue? Antwerp, that's the big market for trading diamonds, much bigger than Amsterdam. But in Antwerp they do not make so much marketing around it. But yeah, we are raised with diamonds.
Here's another question for you. Why did they choose to base the EU in Brussels? I don't know the answer.
I don't know either.
I
Maybe
don't know
because
either.
it's relatively new, doesn't have allies or enemies for such a long time. Because sometimes being neutral is a really hard job in diplomacy, isn't it? And it's a relatively new country. It can be kind of related equally to all the other old players in the world. That's my take on it. So tell us about your diamonds and your involvement in the diamonds industry.
My grandfather was already in diamonds, polishing diamonds factory and trading in diamonds. Then my father and his brothers took over. And then when I came around, I started jewelry gross sales. So everything was in gold set with diamonds. So it was easy for me to get on the diamonds. So yeah, it's just a normal thing. Yeah? Like here they have cows, so people who are born here, they know all about farming. It's a natural thing, so for us it's a natural thing to talk about diamonds, and everybody's wearing diamonds.
So this is my message to the world. If you want to go into the jewelry market or jewelry world, just in your next reincarnation, get born in Antwerp. Well, it's pretty amazing that from diamonds you went to the pancakes, isn't it? So you are, Marcel Pancakes is one of the largest exporter of food in New Zealand still, which is pretty amazing. And it is treated as an ingredient in many restaurants, and it is sold in supermarkets all over the world. So tell us about this idea, and is the pancakes dear to your heart?
The idea, well, my ex-husband, when we were still in Belgium, he is an engineer and they were selling bakery machines. When we came to New Zealand, around that time, he also invented an automatic pancake line, which he was selling all over the world. Yeah. So when we came to New Zealand, we met up with Noel Yarrows on a trade show, and he mentioned, if you come to New Zealand, why don't you make pancakes? Well, we don't know.
Let's try. Why not?
Really. Yeah. Well, no, we had a machine, but we never made pancakes. Anyway, he said, if you can freeze them, I can distribute them for you. So that was where the idea was born when we came to New Zealand to start with Pancake Factory. We thought that was an easy life. We just have to produce and that's it.
Switch the button on.
A 9 to 5 job and that's it.
When did that happen?
That was in 2000. We arrived here in 2000. The building was nearly finished. We waited for our machines to arrive, the containers, and they arrived in April. And in July, we did our first run. We had our first crepes, because in those days we made crepes. We had no idea what a pancake was until somebody asked us, can you do hotcakes? And we said, yes, of course. And I thought, yeah, you know. And he thought that I know. He said, do you know what hotcake is? No. Let's find out what that is. So we were asking around, what on earth is a hotcake? And then people said they had them at McDonald's, so I went to buy them from McDonald's.
Inspiration from McDonald's?
Try them out. They said that's not eatable, isn't it? So we looked for recipes and we tried something out. And we start feeding people, trying them out. What do you think? What do you think? Wow, horrible thing. Until we had something. This is eatable. So we sent it to the potential client who was asking for it, and that was in Singapore. And they said, this is not the right color, but we had not a clue what the color is. So we sat there with pallets of these hotcakes. The next thing to do was to go to foodstuffs. Look, we have made this hotcake. And they said, this is amazing product.
They didn't find the color, didn't they?
That was amazing. So, and from that moment onwards, we were in the supermarkets selling hotcakes, and they sold like hotcakes. So that was really our lifesaver at that moment.
This is pretty amazing because something like pancake exists in every culture. Like in Russia, we call it blini. And the thicker version we call it oladyi, and there is much more around. So crepes in French, and there is basically wraps from the rice in Asian cultures and things like that. So something so universal that anyone can relate to in some ways, and it could be served up with a little bit of a salmon and some sort of creme fraiche on top, or it could wrap something in like a mince, or it could be just served with some Canadian maple syrup and still make a really good taste. I believe that the food is what you put in it, what your intentions are. So if you want to make something quick, fast, it will become fast. If you want to be nutritious and good for the health of people who eat it, it will be, because you'll search certain ingredients and you add things to it. So I think that pancakes goes in this category because you can make it what you want. It's just basically canvas for some other foods as well. So I appreciate that.
There's not many business owners who can say that their product sounds like hotcakes.
I don't know why. For us, also interesting was when we started. That was still the first year with the gluten-free crepes. One of our neighbors in the industrial area where we work said, "I can't eat them because I'm celiac." So I don't know if this is celiac. So she explained. I said, "Well, let's try that out." And we still sell the same recipe, exactly the same as when we started with 20 years ago.
It's located somewhere in Bell Block, is it right?
Yes, we're in Bell Block, Corbett Road.
Corbett Road.
How many people do you flow now? A lot.
That will be 40, 42, something.
Oh, it's much smaller than I thought. I thought you had some hundreds.
And is it hard for you to find skilled staff at the moment?
Well, we have to train them, but everything is very automated. Nobody touches the product.
Has it been automated to the extent that it is pretty much right from the start, or have things changed?
It's pretty much from the start. So from the moment that the batter is made, it goes through the ceiling, it is splodged on the hot plate, or it is sucked out of the barrel, depending what type of product we make. It goes on a hot plate, then it's cooked at one side, it's picked up by a belt, the belt turns around, and then the other side is cooked on the next hot plate. It's a turning around hot plate, and then it goes again on a belt through the wall, and then it ends up in a cooling tunnel, and so that it goes down to 4 degrees to take out most of the moisture. Then it goes again through a wall into a spiral freezer where it is snap frozen. It stays there at -30 for something like 15 minutes to 20 minutes, depending on the product we make. And then they come out as split beads. Yeah? So it's automatic that they're lined up, and then they are packed automatically as well.
So just mainly admin staff and people who maintain the equipment.
So there are staff there when the packs come out, again through wall. So then there are people to take the packs, put them in a cardboard box, and then the cardboard box goes in the storage freezer. But yes, we have people for food safety. We have to let each hotcake or pancake or crepe, whatever, or blini goes through a metal detector as well. So there are all the time people to keep an eye on things. And
why metal detector? Is there
the metal detector
piece of equipment?
Standard in
That's
food
standard,
production, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, you have to.
If it's come off a line because there's lots of metal, you don't want metal in
You don't know when something goes in.
I think it's a perfect time to listen to our second song, which means Nacht.
Nacht.
Nacht. Can you pronounce?
Let Ingrid pronounce the
Nacht, that means night.
Night. But I mean, who is the author of the song?
This is a song by Gust Mavis, and it's about a person who has the most amazing night of his life, better than you see in movies, he said, because he bumped into a woman and took them home, and that was the most amazing night. That's why he's so happy when he sings it.
I love that. Believe it or not, you've already been speaking for 35 minutes, and do you mind to stay a bit longer? Because we have some time. Yeah. I was talking to Ingrid. We're already so immersed in the show. It's so many interesting points.
So, wrong version.
No, that's the wrong
Because
song.
there were two, and but it
That's
is,
the
it
wrong
is,
song.
yeah, sorry. My
That's
mistake.
not.
It's all right. We'll listen to this one. It's still called Nah, and I'm sure this guy
And
bumped
it's-
into the
it's
right
still,
person one night.
It's the person that you said, but
With
someone
someone.
else worked with it. Goose, goose.
It's very pop. And Griffith was like a rap.
So the other version that I saw,
Yeah, it's the same text. Yeah, that's okay. But it's another beat. It's okay. Now he talks about this night.
Do you listen to a lot of Belgian music at home, or do you just get used to
Well,
them?
I have the Belgian radio.
Oh,
They
right.
got Antwerp radio also.
Awesome. That's really good because I listen to Ukrainian radio quite often, and I think it helps us to connect.
so that the version you probably, or the version that you wanted is might be called Het is in.
It is a night for us. Yes, it's a night that you never have dreams of, and now we have it. Now it's going rapid. That's okay, but
So let's aim to the younger audience. Let's leave the rest.
yeah, I think it's okay. It's okay. I didn't know this version because I'm already gone for more than 20 years.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Bad language too.
Congratulations to those who can understand that. This is quite a cool music. I like it. I mean, sometimes people bring their own music, and very often it's a discovery. And sometimes I add this music to my playlist. We have our own Taranaki Foodies playlist.
I think I got your pastoral
Yes, that's a very classic one.
list of this.
Read the list and Marcel. It's about the sun. The
Yeah.
sun and the moon.
Yeah, but there are some composers who has a background. They're not Belgian because Belgium was a country then, but in the 17th century they were born on the same territory as Belgium now. Yeah, so
So Elizabeth List and Ramses Shaffi, they are very big stars in Belgium and the Netherlands. They are from the Netherlands.
welcome back to Taranaki Foodies with Area 41. It is us, Olena Williams, Warwick Foy, and we have epic guests in the studio today. Ingrid Verkamen and Ellen Cobray today. They are talking about music, flying airplanes, diamonds, and who knows what we're going to talk about now.
Well, we haven't even mentioned chocolate, have we? That's one of the most famous words associated with Belgium.
This is crime of us, criminal of us, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Ingrid, tell us about Belgian chocolate.
Belgian chocolates, well, they're all over the place. You can buy them outside through the windows. And the most famous outlets are actually Leonidas, who is a Greek. And started with chocolates in Belgium. The Leonidas chocolates, they are very well known. The most famous and the best chocolate is Callebaut. So they're selling their compound to all the other chocolate makers like Griffith.
It is known in the cooking world because Callebaut chocolate you use for actually tempering the chocolate. This is the main basic ingredient, and you can do so many of this. And rose chocolate appeared recently. It probably wasn't invented in Belgium. I'm not sure, but why Belgian chocolate? Why first of all it takes a foreigner to like Leonidas to do something like that and treasure the product that existed for so many times. Maybe is it different for the chocolate from other areas of the world?
Well, I don't know. Belgian chocolates, well, they're all over the place really. And people buy kilos when they go to visit somebody and they bring
Kilograms.
Yeah, 500 grams, 1 kilo. With Eastern, for instance, we have these beautiful chocolate eggs, big eggs, and they are filled with chocolates. Yeah, it's also a normal thing to have.
So Belgium don't have mines and famous for its diamonds. Belgium does have cocoa plants, but famous for its chocolate. Isn't it quite interesting that the trade people from this area are so good at taking something that exists, being resourceful, and bringing it to a completely different level, a level that is appreciated all over the world. So pretty amazing. And I think that we witness it with your pancakes and pancake factory. So you take products from all over the world, bring it to New Zealand, and make it something really special in New Zealand. So well done. So let's talk about.
However,
yes.
did you know? I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Praline or praline.
Praline.
Praline. That is a kind of chocolate, obviously, was invented in Belgium.
Okay.
How do you pronounce it?
It's a paste.
Praline. Well, what you call a chocolate, we call a praline.
Oh. I thought it's a paste, which is made with an almond.
No, it's chocolate, and inside you have cream and liquor and all sorts of things. But the chocolate on its own looks very nice. So there's like an artwork, yeah, and it's a very refined chocolate.
Would you ever go into a store in Antwerp and buy like Cadbury Dairy Milk?
Cadbury Dairy Milk.
Or like a crunchy bar?
I don't think you can find it.
And it's like, what is that?
So every kind of chocolate is what you've described, which is the artwork and the little.
No, we have chocolate bars too, huh?
Oh, just milk chocolate?
Milk chocolate, fondant, everything. Like Godiva, that's from Belgium. Then Gilliam is from Belgium.
Oh, yeah.
Godiva is sold on the major airports, and it is extremely expensive.
So Gilliam, you see them everywhere.
Ferrero, is that
Ferrero
French?
Rocher, that's
Italian.
Italian. And Lindt is Swiss.
And then you just eat like chocolate on bread.
Yes, because we have, that's something we eat actually not pure chocolate like they do here. So we have this special chocolate schnitten, very thin.
Like a biscuit.
It's very thin to put into a sandwich. So I eat sandwich with chocolate. And
Take away your children from our radio, because we are promoting chocolate on the
sandwich. Nobody has ever seen it here, that's strange. So I ordered them in from Belgium, and then they sent me a big box so that I can have my feet.
Indulge.
And also chocolate sprinkles from fondant and milk chocolate.
What about coffee? Is it sort of Italian style espresso? Is that the
coffee? Very horrible. The most horrible.
Is it really?
Don't go there for a coffee. you throw up. No, since I came to New Zealand, and I thought, my God, the coffee is amazing here. And I went back for the first time in 2004, and I said, I'm gonna order here a cappuccino. I was with a friend. I thought, what is this? The form is nothing, the taste is nothing. Horrible thing, I can't drink this. I was really spoiled here.
Sounds like England.
Yes, very bad coffee.
So people would order a glass of a hot chocolate in Belgium, right? And original hot chocolate doesn't have milk, so it's just a brown liquid with sugar and good quality chocolate. Am I correct? No.
They do cream in it. We call it sesame, that's the brand well known. It's really, really nice. When you come here and you drink a chocolate, you think, oh, what's this? How you call it here? Because I never.
Hot chocolate.
Milo.
Milo thing. Oh my
sugar.
God, that pure sugar is horrible. So no, we drink quite a lot of
proper
chocolate.
Awesome. I would like to talk about something that I'm inspired, and I've been part of it for a while. It's a movement called Women Beyond Ordinary. A lot of people got inspired about you. It was a panel discussion when women were able to have a voice, to be heard, to talk about the problems that were worrying them for a while. Some kind of discovered something in themselves that helped them to move forward, to move up, and find basically their feet. So tell us about it.
Well, how it came into being. That was something. Well, I was asked to talk for a thing called ladies or women wine and design something. And I thought it was neat. Then we were with 3 women to talk about ourselves. And I asked, oh, this is my initiative. Where does it come from? Oh, a woman in New York invented it. A designer for marketing, and then she went to all marketing companies all over the world, and they could do talks about the same theme. And I thought, well, there you go. It's like all the time these Americans, what's wrong with us New Zealanders? What they can do, I can do that too. So I said, okay, great. I thought about it. I picked up the phone and I called 4 women together for a meeting. I said, this is my idea. Shall we do a nice panel discussion and we do it a little bit different? So I explained my idea and they were all in. And that's why we did it for the first time. And the first time we had something like 45 women in the room. Yeah, it was amazing. And since then we did it every 3 months.
And we were never short of people. There were always someone who wanted to come. There were always people willing to become panel leaders, and there were always topics, because sometimes we talk about things that are tabooed in the society, like menopause, for example, or how people like females mainly, get into the business and their family don't support them, or how sometimes they juggle work balance and their work and life balance and so many other things. And sometimes people feel like, oh my God, I can relate to that. Why I never ever talked about it? Why was it so buried inside me? Why was it so painful to think about it? So I think it was a really good platform to start empowering people.
Yeah, and the main idea that was different was that people, when they entered, they got their name, badge, and a color. So we had all the time 4 panel members, and then we had 4 colors. So the audience was divided in colors, and then after the break, they had to sit separately in little groups, depending on the color, with one of the panel members, and they could talk about the topic. So everybody had their say, and that makes it really interesting. Because I figured then when you are in a room and there are somewhere like 50 people, and then it's question and answers, hardly nobody dares to ask something. But then when you put them together in little groups of 10, they were talking, and everybody had their say, and I think that makes it very interesting because they get to know each other better. So lots of friendships were started there, and good networking as well. And yeah, everybody was happy. And Olena, she helped me out with everything. So the first time she was just in the audience, and then she put her hand up and she said, we don't know who you are, because I forgot to introduce myself.
Of course I knew who you are, I just wanted other people.
Yeah, no, you know, but most people didn't. You know? So that was really funny.
Yeah, but it is really interesting to see how it all grew. And I remember that you had a speech at the Land Life Center, and I remember that there were people who wanted to get in, couldn't buy tickets because they ran out, and they were actually begging to come inside. And Land Life had really strict rules because it can't exceed a certain amount in the room. And I was thinking, wow, this is a real good recognition. Sometimes recognition comes in a shape of that. So well done, Ingrid. So what are your plans of empowering people in the future? What projects are you working on at the moment?
What projects? So we have an online course that we have now a pilot, and it's about actually building your life that you love, more based on your intuition and following your heart.
This is a very female kind of approach.
It's more, yes, the feminine essence, but in balance with the masculine essence as well. Yeah. So that's what we have now. I was on quite a bit of summits during the COVID, all online. And now, when everything is back to normal, yes, together we're going to do something with Women Beyond Ordinary, not only in New Plymouth, but also with Yanga on the North Shore in Auckland. So it all will take shape, and probably also a couple of public speaking events as well.
Also,
So it's going to be great.
and it is an international reach suddenly.
Yes.
The Belgian immigrant who came to New Zealand and kind of won Taranaki, and then all over New Zealand now going back to the international market. So congratulations on that. I think it's a good time to listen to our third piece of music, which is, can you tell us?
Pastoral.
Pastoral by Lisbeth?
Lisbeth List and Ramses Shaffi.
Oh, awesome. Wow, it's going so well. How do you feel?
Like always.
Is this the right one?
It's more the lyrics that this is.
So what do they sing about? The ideal world?
It is the song.
Pastoral must be farming.
I don't know.
Did you learn a bit of French?
No, I struggle with English.
Yeah. We're already speaking for 40 minutes, 50 minutes, and I can speak for hours, basically. We will probably wrap up the show after the song. Is there anything else you would like to talk about?
I actually not talked about the recipes I sent. we need to talk about food.
Well, we touched a little bit about it, and I'll put it on our group, because there is a group, Taranaki Foodies with Area 41, and people can post anything. It's basically very, very light administration. And I think that people who are in the food industry need a little bit of a lift, and also they need a little bit of recognition. So this is the group for it.
It is about farming.
How good, especially at this time.
But this is the song, and it says, when with his smile he can run everything, but he also can fly.
Very appropriate at this particular time for us.
Nice.
Yeah.
When you play that, everybody sings with it. Everybody knows.
So it's like
In Belgium.
Yeah, in Belgium and the Netherlands,
Yeah.
it is very well known. But probably not the youngsters anymore.
Yeah.
People from my age.
it's like unofficial anthem, right?
Well, more, yeah, it was very deep, the lyrics.
I was reading about beer. So not only do you have 400 breweries, as you said, Ingrid, but AB InBev, which is the big multinational that owns Budweiser, Stella.
Intro has brought everything. Huh?
Yeah.
And it's still family, huh? It's the family.
Yeah, still the
Still
family.
the family.
Also Corona, also Beck's, Hogarden.
Oh, I
Yeah,
thought
they
Bex
bought
is German.
Well,
Hogarden
it is
So
German, but they
Interbrew
own.
bought everything. And Interbrew, Stella Artois, that was in Leuven, where I studied.
And that's where it's based in Bev. So it must be based there because that was Stella's from.
That's from Leuven, yeah.
Funny, so Stella, I don't know if you know this, but Stella in New Zealand is marketed as a premier beer.
It's
But
not.
It's not.
In Belgium,
It's not.
in Belgium,
Yeah,
they
it's
think it's all the students, it's very
It's-
cheap
yeah.
and you get a headache of it.
And in the UK, they call it wife beater. You shouldn't joke about
It's nobody likes Stella Artois because it's you get the headaches, it's not okay. But they were feeding all the students because it was cheap, and you go then to visit the brewery, and they're drinking.
Well, there's something new I learned about you, Ingrid. Do you still drink beer?
Not a lot, but yeah, I like beer. And in Antwerp, the beer best known is Bolk. When you drink one, you're upside down because it's very high in alcohol. But you can't buy it anywhere else. It's just straight from the tap.
Oh, that's cool.
And it comes straight from the brewery in the taps on the different cafes.
Oh, wow, this is so cool. Yeah. Well, got me kind of feeling like I need to go to Belgium after COVID, of course. Welcome back to Taranaki Foodies with Area 41. It is us, Olena Williams, and Warwick Foy on the Most FM. We're talking about Belgian cuisine with wonderful Ingrid Verkamen and Ellen Cobray. And we touched so many different subjects: chocolate, flying airplanes, music, diamonds, French fries, which I actually invented in Belgium. And it is the time to wrap up our show. So it's a message from our sponsor Area 41. They have an amazing new menu. They have added something to their dessert list and also to their main list. And in a couple of weeks, they're going to change all their wines. So no more Italian wines. They're going to change it into the French wines. They do it every 6 months. So come check their menu. Please support them because they support us on the most of them. Thank you very much, our guests. Thank you very much for our crew. And it is a wonderful time for Warwick to present his little song that he prepared. What it is?
It's banana pancakes. Jack Johnson.
Yay! Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye. This is the longest show we ever had. You guys are so interesting. Thank you so much. This was amazing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How was it for you, Ellen?
Yeah, good.
Yeah. You see, I did make you to sing.
Yeah, that's
You
good.
owe me.
You have to give me some of that strong broken beer to get it started.